Down to the front lines. Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Mama always said you'd be the chosen one. She said you're one in a million, but you got to earn the shine. You were born under a bad sign with a blue moon in your eyes. You woke up this morning and all the love you had was gone.
All right, folks. It's actually Monday. We're releasing this show this week, so technically we're sending this out to you Monday 9 o'clock. Welcome to the Crack House Podcast. My name is Michael Sullivan. Joining me as always, my boy, my man, my buddy, my pal, Chris Muscalino. What's up, dude?
What's up, Mike? As your father used to say, or he always says, my compadre, Miguel. What's up, everybody? Happy 4th of July.
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the 4th of July. That's why we're releasing it on Monday. And I'm going to have a special guest on any minute. My buddy Jack. We're going to talk Sopranos trailer real quick, if he answers.
Hello?
Hi, Jack.
Hey, it's Jack from New York. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, hey, great. Send this kid a T-shirt. This is my buddy Jack. This is I Can Paint Jack. Jack, Chris, Jack. How you guys doing?
How you doing?
What's up, Jack? How are you, man?
So how's it going?
I figured for this episode I needed double the Italians to talk about the Sopranos trailer.
The double the Italians is always a good thing.
Yes, I doubled
One thing
up.
before we get kicked off, a shout out to my boy Ralphie.
Sopranos,
A shout out to
the new the Many Saints of Newark.
yes.
The
I just want to
trailer
throw out.
dropped. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
I'm very excited. Very excited.
it didn't tickle my nuts.
Very excited. I think it's going to. Now, I was a big Sopranos fan. I watched the show at least in its entirety twice a year. I love it. I identify with it. Growing up Italian, all the little things as far as what they're eating, where they're going, the way they're speaking. That was my family completely. So it's like watching.
Home
It's
movies.
like being at it's like being at my aunt's house for New Year's. That's what it is. Minus the wax.
Minus murder.
Yeah, minus the murder.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it just. I love the show. I thought the show was great, but my thing was you're not seeing the old characters. It's somebody else playing the character. But it's somebody else. I mean, it's going to be, I look at it, I didn't enjoy the trailer, but I think I will enjoy the movie for the simple fact of it's going to go back now and it's going to give you all these little, like, why did he fucking hate him like this?
Yes.
Why did he treat him like this? Why did he do that like that? That's what it's going to give you.
All the little stories in the original Sopranos that like Paulie was reminiscing with Tony about the first guy he killed when he was like 16.
Yeah.
You're going to see that. You're going to see how that transpired. You're going to see how Paulie and Tony's relationship started and why Tony looks up to Dicky Moltisanti, who was Christopher's father. And there's going to be a lot of backstory. I think it's going to be very cool.
That looked like a big thing. Me and Chris were talking about that as well. Like, it looks like, I read one thing online where it's like Gandolfini's son is kind of like second billing in this. Dicky Moltisanti is like the main character of the movie.
Definitely.
How it's like written up. So.
Yeah, because he was like what Tony Soprano was in The Sopranos. He's the head guy. It's him and the father.
Oh yeah,
and Tony's dad.
And they tell the story.
But you're going to see young Tony Soprano's crew, which is, it's going to be Silvio. It's going to be April. Jackie April is going to be in it.
Yeah.
As a young guy. And it's going to be Ralphie, who was, what's his name? Who played Ralphie?
Oh, Joe Pantoliano.
Yes. You're going to see them young because they were the ones.
And the cousin, who is it? Tony B.
Yes.
That guy's going to be a young Steve Buscemi guy's going to be floating around.
Big Pussy's going to be in it too.
That Feach LaMotta's go into all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna probably see when Buscemi's character went to jail. But now this is supposed to be a one and done. It's a movie. It's not episodes.
That's
No,
right.
I hope it's gonna be like 3 hours. I don't know how they're gonna cram all that into a regular hour and 20-minute movie. It's impossible.
And Buscemi's character went to jail in the 1980s, so that's set
I
in
don't
the
know the time
60s.
limit on it.
Yeah, this is set in like what, the late 60s, early 70s. So
67.
Yeah.
It's the race riots in Newark in 1967
But
and
I'm
68.
excited. I think it's going to be really good. The same guy, David Chase is directing it, so it's going to have that vibe. It's probably going to be great music.
Yeah.
You're going to see how Tony and Carmela's relationship started.
Yeah, that was my. If you watch the trailer, here's the thing. It freaked me out a little bit watching the trailer. The woman playing his mother, that chick, Vera Farmiga, the girl from The Departed. She was the doctor in The Departed.
Yep.
She's been in all those horror movies.
Yes.
The
Conjuring movies.
Yeah, the makeup they give her. If you look at her face, she looks like
Carmela.
Yes, she looks like a cross between Carmela and the mother, which goes into a whole psychological thing of
completely done on purpose.
Tony,
exactly.
Tony trying to marry his, like, all these problems,
100%.
and he married a woman exactly like his mother. That he hated.
Exactly. Yep. Which was the root of the entire show, was his mother issues.
Until she unexpectedly died, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just dropped dead between, like, what, season 2 and 3 or something like that?
Yeah, you watched, they had to superimpose her face.
Yeah, they did, like, she was like one of the first CGIs. And
Yep. I've already said to my buddies that we're definitely going to see this in the movie theater.
Yeah, it's going to be, what is it, HBO Max?
HBO Max or the movies.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm probably staying home. I'll probably stay home. I got a TV. I pay $10 a month for HBO Max. I'm going to watch it on same thing, Suicide Squad. I'll watch it on HBO Max.
That'll watch on HBO Max.
Which is probably going to suck too, but who cares? But yeah, I thought the trailer didn't do much for me. It looks like it's going to be an amazing story. You're going to have like all this backstory stuff in it. Like I said, Tony looks like he treated Christopher the way Christopher's father treated him.
Yes.
That's what that was another thing I read online. It's like how that whole relationship formed and why he treated Christopher the way he treated him.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you're going to see how Dickie Moltisanti got whacked.
It's going to mirror The Sopranos in a lot of ways. The connections between people.
Yeah, I could.
Go ahead.
I could see, like Chris just said, they're going to show probably how like Dickie Moltisanti got whacked by the cop.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like in a couple of. It looks like in a couple.
Never really answered.
Well, I mean, Tony just tells, "Hey, there's the cop that killed your father."
Right. They
And
don't get the reasons behind
it.
But they don't know if that was the case. Because that cop was swearing up and down that it wasn't him, that he was being set up. So was Tony just making him do a hit just to keep him under his fingernail?
So.
I think too. If you get into, all right, I mean, we don't know because we have, but if you get into this, then I think Tony's father hated Moltisanti and set him up and got him killed by this cop. I'll just throw that out there.
I think there's gonna be a lot of surprises
because it seems like maybe Tony's father didn't want him in this life.
Who do you think Ray Liotta is going to be, Jack?
I think there's gonna be a lot of twists and turns that they left open in the series that was never answered, that you're going to say, holy shit, that's how that happened? Well, that's what really happened? And that's going to be interesting. But only people who went back and watched the series.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, too. I think you got to rewatch this whole series. And Chris just brought up a good point. Who's Ray Liotta playing?
I think Ray Liotta is either playing Moltisante's father, who's locked up, or the head of the family that was pinched. And now Moltisanti and the guy playing Tony's father, the guy from The Punisher, they're taking the reins.
So you think it's just he's just the head of the family before he goes to jail?
It's either one of two things. Because in one scene, he tells Moltisanti when he's locked up, he says, "Stay away from Tony. Stay away from that kid."
Yeah.
So he had to have something invested in this kid. So maybe it's a relative, could be Moltisante's father breaking out after Tony.
It sounds like it's going to be Christopher's
We'll
grandfather,
see. It's gonna be
Aldo
interesting. Comes out, I
Montesanti.
think, October 1st.
Well, they think, yeah, Chris just said it too. He could be the grandfather, the Montesante's grandfather.
Maybe.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, we'll find out, you know, October 1st. All questions will be answered, unless it starts leaking out online, of course, and then you can just start looking for the answers. I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a good movie, but right now I'm just not into it. I got to watch the movie.
Yeah, I think you're gonna watch it. And it's going to. I think it's gonna blow everyone's mind. I'm hoping. I hope it doesn't flop. I can't see how it's gonna.
No, I don't think it's
too much of a good storyline.
Yeah.
To these characters are good characters.
Yeah, and all you're doing is going. Yeah, it is. It's very simple. You're just plugging in these old characters into like an older story. That's all you're doing. So
Yep.
it's I can't see it failing.
No, definitely not. People are thirsty for this.
Yeah, the show's been off. We talked about it a few weeks ago. The show's been off 15 years.
Oh yeah.
So, all right.
I'm excited about it. I like it.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be good. I think it's a good cast, good crew. David Chase stayed with the show. And
Well, he's the creator of the show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't like walk away and HBO owned the rights and just said, all right, we're going to do whatever we want. You know, this isn't like Disney. And now we'll spin off 17 different mob shows on every character and give you a back.
He's going to have his allegiance to it. He's going to put his spin on it the right way. And I think it's going to be done real well.
And like we said, like what Chase does and what Scorsese does, what they're really good at is soundtracks.
Yeah, Mike brought that up. Great point.
Yeah, they always have, you know, this is going to be the 60s. It's going to be a lot of great Motown, I'm sure, in the movie.
Yep.
I want to see if they make these guys woke. They're going to make woke mobsters.
Well, that's the background. The background is the race riots.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
are they going to make these, hey, let's give these guys a chance now. Come on. Yeah. Everybody deserves a helping hand.
I don't think so. I just think I think Italians got like a love-hate relationship with African Americans, you know? It's like
Yeah. So, well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. I'm going to let you go do what you got to go do. Have fun tonight.
I will.
Be careful.
I'll try.
I lit 7 candles, by the way.
Please.
And I'm going to say a rosary when I'm done.
Very good.
All right, Jack, be good. Be safe, buddy.
Talk to you
Later. Bye. All right. That was Jack from I Can Paint, my buddy, out there doing God's work.
I don't think he was able to hear me too well. I think he was.
No, I think because I had the headphones on.
Okay.
So I should have taken them out, but.
Nah, you're good, man.
Now we know for next time. So what else is new? Like I said, we all talked about it. Do you think this? I think it's going to be a great movie. But like I said, do you think they try and woke this up a little?
I don't think so, Mike. I think, like I was saying before you let Jack go, I think 2 things. Number one, I think as an Italian American, Italian Americans have a weird relationship with African Americans. So it's either you have a racist attitude or you're completely cool. You know, I happen to be one of the people that are completely cool. And I think in this movie, in the backdrop of it, I don't think they're going to be shown as woke. I think you're going to see the dynamics between, you know, what went down. And, you know, listen, I would never put Italian Americans in the same boat as Black Americans in terms of the plight that they've gone through. But I'll tell you, we're probably, as a whole, you know, at one stage in this country's history, Italians are probably a couple steps above them in terms of the way they were treated. So I think there's kind of like a mutual respect there. And it'll be interesting. Like, I'm sure, you know, you'll have the racist aspect of it, you know, portrayed in it. But I don't think they'll go there. I think they'll be pretty realistic in terms of how it was back then. I'd probably tell you, if I had to take a guess, I would say probably a little less sugar-coated than it was in the Bronx Tale. If you remember the interactions like that, like kind of the way that it was handled in that way, I think that's the way you're going to see it in this way. But, you know, I'm interested to see what happened to Dicky Moltisanti. I think there are a couple other people that are in it that.
Yeah, because I think they're trying to keep a lot of things under wraps too. Because when you IMDb the movie,
some of them don't come up.
Yeah, like Ray Liotta's character
doesn't come up.
The name doesn't come up. So it is. It's going to be. and you only see Ray Liotta in it for what, about 10 seconds of the trailer. Really,
I gotta imagine he's got a decent part in it, though. I mean, they're not going to pay that guy that kind of money to be in it for like 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, too, it could be just one of those things where he just steals like 3 scenes of the movie and that's it too.
Could be. I mean, I know Sill's going to be in it. I know Paulie's going to be in it.
Yes.
The guys that you guys mentioned. So Paulie, Sill, Big Pussy's going to be in it. I'm sure, like Jack said, they'll show the feature Le Mans card game. You got to see what happens in terms of how Dickie gets whacked. I'm just trying to think of like scenes back then. I mean, it looks like the father's going to be in it. You know, Sopranos' father, Johnny Boy. Junior's in it.
That's Junior's the guy, in it. Yeah, the guy that played the Punisher on Netflix is playing the father.
Right.
He was in the Israeli guy in Wolf of Wall Street, the crazy guy.
Which, to be honest with you, I would have loved to seen them have the character that they had in the original series play Johnny Boy.
Well, you got to remember too, how old is that guy now?
Yeah, he's up there. He's probably up there.
He was probably in his 40s when he did the show. Late 30s, early
60 40s. Now. Yeah,
now that guy's pushing 60s, and you want him to play a guy in it. Here's what I don't think they're gonna do it at all. But do you think they have little bullshit cameos? Any old TV show characters do like a cameo, like just walk into a store or walk in here or walk in there.
In terms of what, like
let's just say Big Pussy. What's his name? Vincent Pastore. Just sitting at a diner somewhere, young Tony Soprano walked into a diner and he's just playing like one of the extras eating food.
Oh yeah. I think that's a possibility.
I wonder if they're gonna throw things out like that in the movie.
Well, I know Scorsese does that. Like he pops himself into a couple of scenes here and there, and it's a pretty cool thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them though. That would be a cool, a cool nod. I wonder if, I would think of like, is there anybody out there that you think is in this movie that's not an IMBD, like a big name, like a De Niro or a Pesci who makes a cameo? You think any possibility of that happening?
I don't.
I mean, I don't know what kind of budget they're working with.
They never. You know what? You know what it is? They were never really in that world, so I don't know. Yeah, but why not?
So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I know we had a conversation about it beforehand. I like the trailer. I got goosebumps when I heard Tony's voice.
That was a big. You start getting the music, boom, 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 and then and then we talked about this on the phone. Do you think they CGI the kid's face a little to look more like the father?
But I really do think he looks like him. I do think they got him down, and I think the casting was perfect. I mean, the kid never acted before. He actually never saw a Sopranos episode until he was cast. And then he said it was kind of tough for him because he was watching his father, who had passed away. Well, I mean, it's very difficult for me. I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago. Me and my buddy Tony, when that happened, it kind of took me back. The guy was a little bit older than us, maybe about 10 years older than us.
No,
when he died, he was like 52.
No, he's not.
He died when he was 51 or 52, like in that ballpark.
Yeah, 52 or 53.
But I'm saying in our age, he's about 10 years older. He would have been 10 years older than us. Yeah. But listen, I think there's a possibility for the CGI with the kid, but I do think that there's a chance there wasn't. I think the kid really resembles him, and he's nailed his father, completely in terms of the way he walks, the way he carries himself, and. Well, I think that it was great choice in terms of casting.
Well, I remember reading this too about the original show. From the pilot episode until like the second episode, it's an 18-month gap.
Okay.
And if you listen to Tony's voice from the first episode to that second episode, in that year and a half they were off. He went to all these dialogue coaches and he got the voice down that he was known for, that nasally fucking like real North Jersey accent that he was
right.
He was really trying, and you hear him in the first episode, it sounds nothing like it.
I gotta go back and watch that. That's a good catch, Mike. But I gotta be honest with you, I think the kid nailed it. I think it was perfect casting. I'm a little curious on some of the other cast. Like I said, I wonder if Carmela's going to be in it. I didn't see her name in the IMDb, but I think
No.
I saw there's a scene like in the beginning when he's roughing the kid up after the telephone incident. He's in a phone booth, and I guess the kid says something wise to him, and a young Tony starts beating him up, and a girl with blonde hair seems to like be breaking up the fight. I wonder if that's Carmela.
I just saw a thing online probably like 2 hours ago. They're kind of saying it is.
Right.
That's her. And then who was it? He was banging Charmaine, right? Too? Didn't he bang?
Yeah, I think he slept. Yeah, Artie Bucco's wife.
Yeah.
Artie
So
Bucco's future wife, right? Yeah, I think Artie's going to appear in it, which would be cool. Listen, it's gonna be great, man. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I like the trailer a lot. I'm like you. I'm probably not going to go into the movie theater and pump down money for it.
Yeah, I doubt I'm going to the movies. If I have HBO Max, which I still will at that time, I don't see myself going to the movies. I'm sure my two brothers went to go see The Irishman in the movie theater, and I would never.
Did you go with them to Dublin when they?
No. Just them two. Supposedly it was a great time.
There's two trips I want to make, Mike, and I regret when my grandfather was alive never going to Malta when he was alive. The two trips I want to make. Number one, I want to go to Italy. I want to do like the entire country from top to bottom. And number two, I want to do the United Kingdom, and I want to do Ireland. And my wife's got family over there. I've got family in the UK and stuff in England. And I gotta be honest with you. If I have a chance, I'd like to do both before I kick the bucket. But how come you didn't go to Dublin?
Oh, I was just still working at the time. I didn't have the time off, and
yeah,
I didn't have the money. I got 3 kids running around doing this, doing that. I just didn't have the time to go. So
Big Pat went too. Big Pat, he showed a couple pictures. A couple years ago, I think him and his brother went, and he said it was like a racetrack and bars and broads all over the place. Because it's a great time, Dublin.
Well, I heard like the city is almost like it's almost kind of like a Manhattan kind of vibe,
like a Boston feel almost.
Yeah, like that smaller. Yeah, probably like like a smaller town kind of feel. And then like once you go out into the countryside, it's just all these little pubs and everything else. Like Brian and Kevin, my brothers, went to where, like where the town our grandfather was from. They were in the church he was baptized in.
Wow, that's cool.
Who knows how old that church is? Like 8,000 years old, probably.
And then our buddy Jerry from McClancy, I think he's got family, and he's from Belfast. He was like right off the boat when we went to school with him in high school, right?
Yeah, Jerry. Jerry was from Northern. I know he's from Northern Ireland.
I think he's from Belfast, man. If I'm not mistaken.
And I sat in front of him for 4 years in homeroom. So, and he's been, hey, shout out Jerry, by the way, for 27 years teaching.
God bless him, man.
At our alma mater. The guy
he always reminds me. He reminds me of the character that got whacked out in the Boardwalk Empire, the bodyguard for Nucky.
Yeah.
And then they play the cool U2 music when he gets whacked at the end, and they put him with his body in the box. That's another underrated show, Mike. We should talk about that one time. I like that show too, the Boardwalk Empire.
I tell you, man, Boardwalk just kind of I just gave up on it. I gave it I want to say I gave it 3 seasons, and then it just started to like on me. Like I didn't care anymore. I thought it was a great. I didn't think it was like a bad show, but it was just, to me, the storyline just started getting slower and slower, and I just didn't give a shit anymore.
I'm a big fan of Buscemi. Buscemi.
Oh, I think he's a great actor and everything. I'm not,
even more so. He's a New York guy. He's an ex-fireman, by the way.
Yeah, he was a fireman for a few years, and
he helped out during 9/11.
Yeah, earlier. I think I want to say it was like early 80s. He was a fireman, like 81 to like 84 or something like that, where he excuse me. Yeah, he and then he just started getting all these acting roles, and that was it for him. He's a Long Island guy. I think he's a Nassau County guy, like Valley.
I think so.
Valley Stream, somewhere around that area. Like right on like the Nassau I think like the Nassau Queens border.
Became good friends with Strummer, the guy from The Clash. He was close with him. He made some movies with him, got tight with him. He was a fireman. He's a pretty interesting character, and he's had a lot of good roles. How about his role in Con Air? How good was he in that?
Oh yeah,
The definition of irony: a bunch of idiots dancing around to a song made by a band that died in a plane crash. Right. Such a good line, man.
Yeah, he was a great, he's a great. I love when Adam Sandler puts him in all his movies.
Oh, phenomenal.
He always gives him like those, like the, what was it? Not Happy Gilmore. Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
The death list scene in Billy Madison is classic.
Right.
That
Big Dad. He was in Big Dad too.
Yeah, Big Daddy with the eye thing over on the West 3rd Street McDonald's. R.I.P. West 3rd Street McDonald's. Rest in peace.
Hey, speaking of the city, I saw something today, and not to get too much off topic. What the hell is going down in the Lower East Side, bro? I saw something today in the Post where, like, supposedly, like at 3 p.m, for the last couple nights, people have been going out, and like it looks like a scene, from what I understand, out of the Joker. Like there's like people like dancing on cars and shit.
Yeah, it's not that, but Chris, that's been going on for years down there.
Oh yeah.
Now it's just kind of like I guess because COVID ending, it's getting more and more out of hand. But they usually have a detail every weekend down there, and if you know the Lower East Side at all,
yeah, of course,
those streets are so tight and so narrow, especially right there by like I'm talking like right by the Williamsburg Bridge there. You're talking like Ludlow, Rivington, Orchard, all those streets in that area. It's all tight residential buildings mixed in with just tons and tons of bars.
I'm talking like East Houston, like
right there.
Yeah,
I'm talking right there, Chris. Right. Well, I know exactly where everything is basically over there. Where they're talking about whatever. I read the same thing in the paper that you did. All these bars are letting out, and now people are just
going crazy.
And it's been a weekend thing there like that for years, where they'll actually shut down certain streets to vehicular traffic. The police will, just because there's too many people to try and corral.
Dude, I heard they took away some DJs his speakers. They confiscated the guy's speakers.
Well, that's the thing that's going on too there. You get all of these people coming out, and now some guy shows up like, yo, I'm Joe the DJ, and just sets up like 5 speakers and his 1s and 2s, and now he's blasting music, and people, this is another thing of the woke being out woke, because it's all woke. It's all wokeness down there, but they don't want to hear this music at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
Of all these woke people that still want to hang out. So that's why you got 1,000 cops there every weekend now.
It's crazy, bro. If you play music at that level, like I'm a DJ, right? I've got speakers. I test out speakers the other day, and I can tell you, I was worried like I was going to get a phone call from one of my neighbors saying, "Hey, what's up with the music?" When we had a block party a couple years back, same deal. People were complaining. They were driving by my house to see where the music was coming from. I can't imagine being in the middle of New York City, people dancing on cars at 3 a.m. and playing loud ass music.
And the other thing you got to remember too, Chris, down there, it's like the Lower East Side down there, every block has like 3 bars on it.
Yeah.
It's not like, I remember talking to a cop who retired there. He retired from the 7th precinct, which covers that Lower East Side area. He said, he goes, when I got here in 1992, the Lower East Side had like 8 bars. He goes, when he retired, this guy probably retired about 5 years ago. There was over like 1,000 just in that precinct alone. Wow. And I mean, and there's 2 to 3 bars on almost every corner in the Lower East Side now. It's the cool hipstery place to hang out. If you live in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, all you do is, if you walk over the Williamsburg Bridge, boom, you're right there, and like the Lower East Side is your oyster.
What was the block that CBGB's was on?
CBGB's was on the Bowery, and is it 4th?
I remember going down there a lot.
It's CBG. It's now John Vivartos, the John Vivartos clothing store. I went there once. I went to CBGB's once to see a band, and
place smelled like puke always.
It was for people. It was disgusting. Not disgusting. It is kind of disgusting.
It was disgusting. Sure.
You don't realize like how tiny the place is.
Yeah. No, I used to go there pretty often. I guess like in the early '90s, like when I was in college. a little bit after we got out of high school and stuff. And I remember going down there, seeing some, I saw a couple big names in there a couple times. People would like, these bands would walk in, but you're right, it was like a real S-hole, so to speak.
Yeah.
Puke, real small, like you said.
Yeah.
Acoustics were good, man. I mean, it sounded always good in there, no matter what was going on. I saw the owner once or twice. He seemed, let's put it this way, not so friendly, if that makes sense. But
they're trying to bring it back, I think, in Vegas. They were trying to open one up. So.
Dude, if I ever have the money, I would love to revamp that spot and put it back there.
Never. No, it's gone. It's gone. Let it go. And
yeah.
All right. We got another guest.
Macho Man. Ooh, yeah.
Let's bring him in.
The Macho Man. Maybe I'll play Pomp and Circumstance for him.
Macho time.
Macho Man.
What up, dog?
Yo, Macho Man.
What's up, champ?
4th of July. Let's do it.
All right. You've asked for him time and time again. He's bothered and hounded me about this UFO conspiracy. He could be assassinated tonight for spitting what he's going to spill. The men in black could come after him tonight.
They might.
He might get Tommy Lee Jones X-ray faced in the face tonight.
It depends how deep you want to go, Mike. It depends how deep.
I am ready.
We could skim the top, or we could go right in.
My man, I bought 3 shovels. Let's go.
Yo, it's so crazy, man, how you know him. Mike told me the story on how we came up. And then I think I mentioned it to you one time, back in the day. And it's funny how small, such a small world, bro.
Yeah. When Mike first came, when I first met Mike at work, I don't know, instantly we just clicked. And then we just started driving around talking, whatever. And just bringing up people. He's like, oh, you went to St. John's? And the first person he mentioned was you. But he said your real name first. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, who? He goes, oh, they call him Muskrat. I was like, yeah, of course they call Muskrat. Everybody knows Muskrat.
Dude, I was telling him, I was breaking it down for him. So, like, there's guys in your fraternity that even, just for the audience out there, I was in Pi Lambda Phi at St. John's. Chris was in Teak. And Teak is a huge national fraternity. Pi Lambda's a lot smaller, but make a long story short, Mike and me, we grew up together. Chris worked with Mike. And there's guys in your fraternity, Chris, that we knew from Astoria, like Juan Reyes. Oh, sorry, said the last name. But
those guys were older than me.
They were older than you, but they're in your fraternity. And then there were guys in Teak, I guess, that were in the Boy Scouts. Me and Mike were big in the Boy Scouts when we were kids. We knew them, the guys like Dennis and those guys. And there were a couple guys in Beep and stuff. But just so funny how many names that he was spitting out or I was spitting out that you knew, or such a small world, bro.
Yeah. That's the thing of when you're in Queens, especially. I feel like you just run into people all that, like, it could be random. Even now that I live in Long Island, I run into people that moved out here that I haven't seen in like 15 years, and then they'll spit a name. Oh, my friend lived in Queens too, and they'll say a name, and I'll be like, yeah, that guy. I went to high school with that guy. Some random.
Dude, I throw out every week on this show a plug, or close to every week, La Familia, right? You know who runs La Familia? John Squiggy from Phi Tau. He's the manager there, dude. He's great. I've been going there since the place opened up 20 years. And, the first time I went in there, I'm like, wow, holy shit. He goes, you live out here now? I go, yep. I've been in Smithtown for like close to 20 years. So I ran into him. I think there are other people through Facebook that I see that are in Smithtown near me. And it's like, it's just so crazy on how many people you run into. Like even in Lex, I was telling Mike, we went to school with another guy, Eddie, who was in Lex. He's friends with Larry, who you went to, who you guys worked with.
Larry was my boss for a while.
Larry's your boss. And there's a guy, he's a huge deal. I don't know if you remember him,
Mongo. Yeah.
Right.
Mongo got us tickets once to see ECW on Queens Boulevard. And I wasn't even great friends with him, but he was friends with somebody in my fraternity who just, like, every once in a while, he just dropped tickets and we'd go. Right. And have like a kick-ass time. We'd go get drunk at Gantry's first and head out to the ECW thing.
Dude, I was
there the night that they used somebody brought an NES, an old Nintendo, and they smashed another guy in the head with it. Like, he came into the crowd, grabbed the NES, and hit another guy in the head with it.
Dude, the guy
I appreciate the shirt too. There
Yeah, love it, bro.
muskrat. This is the Cody Rhodes shirt. The American Nightmare.
American Nightmare.
Cody Rhodes, the American Dream's son. It's the American Nightmare.
Nice. I got Italia on. Shout out to Charlie G and Ralphie. Italia, one more win, baby. We're in the finals. We'll see what happens. How's Palmer doing?
He's doing good. Everybody's doing good.
Yeah,
Everybody's we all moved out here at one point or another. And then like the kids started happening. Like we all got married around the same time. We all had kids around the same time. So all our kids are between, 7 and 12 or 13. I think Andre's the only one who has like kids that are older. A couple kids that are 15-year-old. But everybody
I ran into Mike.
Still stay close.
I ran into Mike down in stands a couple times back in the day. That was funny.
I go to after COVID, when COVID happened, I wasn't able. Obviously, nobody could go to the stadium, but I would see Mike at least 2 times a year, and it was like never missing a beat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you ever run into people that it's just like I haven't seen him. The only time I see him is when I go to States. I go to Yankee Stadium at least 3-4 times a year.
It's like me and Michael, man. Me and Michael kind of fell out of touch for many years, and it's like when we got reacquainted, and we'd always see each other here and there. But it's like I always tell my wife, man, it's like Mike is one of my best friends. I grew up with him, and it's like I could not see Mike for the next 10 years. And like you said, it's like not missing a beat, bro. He just
it's like, what it's like, Chris. You go to a 13 party, and it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in 15 years. Hey, how you doing? You still playing softball? What's up? Yeah, you know what it is.
Remember that time or whatever?
Yeah.
It kicks right back in.
So what's the deal, Macho Man? UFO time, bro.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm
Lay it out, baby.
Oh, well, I don't know, man. Mike had me going on this Yankee tangent with the text, and I got kind of pissed off. So I don't want to go too deep into the Yankees because it pissed me off. All right.
That's another thing.
So what are we talking about? We're talking about
the big 9-page report that came out.
They're not called UFOs anymore.
Yeah, UAFs,
UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. Here's the thing: you got to look back. This report, before it even came out, I knew something was either we were going to get like some sort of disclosure, which is like the government just saying this is the deal, or they were trying to go on a different set. And when they changed the name from UFOs to UAPs, it was around the time that Hillary Clinton was running for president. She was on Jimmy Kimmel. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. It was one of the Jimmys. And they, just like all the talk show hosts were doing, what do you know about UFOs? They asked Barack the same thing. They asked Bill Clinton the same thing. And she corrected them. Right there. She said, oh, they're not UFOs, they're UAPs. So once they said that, and then I heard the report was coming out, I was like, wait a second. Something's up. It's very specific on just UAPs. It goes back to when they first started calling them UAPs, which is around the first time that you started seeing these leaks happen. It was around the time Hillary Clinton was running, when you saw the gimbal video, which is the F-15, the F-18 Hornet tracking. Yeah. That was leaked. It was 2 leaks that came out. There was the Tic Tac leak and the gimbal video. And the gimbal video, if you, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to go too crazy, but you can look them up on YouTube. These things were leaked back in. One was 2007, another one was 2012, 2 were in 2012, and one just most recently, which they call the splash video, which is a Navy boat seeing something float above the water. They're tracking it for a while, and then they say splash because radar guys say it just dove into the water and disappeared. It was floating above the water for like 15, 20 minutes, dove into the water and disappeared. So when this report came out, they specifically called it a UAP report. I was like, okay, but basically what it was is the Senate Intelligence Committee snuck this in with the last COVID relief bill, right? And it was basically we want to know about these UAPs and their threat. And if you read the report, it's they don't really say much. They categorize things into like 4 different categories. But I think what's interesting about the report is you see how how everything's separated in government. And you know that, Mike, just working in a city agency, how it is. How one, and it's kind of, I don't want to bring up 9/11, but 9/11 was an example of how things are separated. How one branch doesn't talk to the other. Even with the military, they don't talk to each other. So it's actually discussed, and it says it in the report, how trying to pull all this information together or pool it is difficult because they don't speak about what's going on. And the reports were coming from a defensive posture of more of thinking it's something from an outside, not a UFO, but from like, Russia or China. It actually specifically names Russia and China, that these could be unmanned drones. Another one of the excuses is the equipment can't read it correctly. They had a list, I think it was 144 incidents, and they could identify most of them. Like it was, pilot error, not being able to identify things, equipment, misidentification of weather anomalies on the radar. But the problem is there was this guy, Commander Fravor, who was he did the Rogan program podcast, and he did Lex Friedman's podcast, and he's the one who caught.
Yeah,
he's the one who he was piloting the F-18, and also a few weeks later, there's a female pilot who was on the other jet that also corroborated what they saw. Like, listen, this thing dropped 60,000 feet.
Yeah, that was
10 feet above the water, and then just took off.
Yeah, I just actually heard that Tim Dillon did Rogan this week, and he was talking to him about it. And yeah, he mentioned that specifically. He goes, listen, this guy Faber's legit dude. He saw everything. The thing went from, he said, 80,000 feet to 50 feet above the water, and then gonzo.
And then, but even worse was that, well, when he was piloting this, they were doing a training exercise.
Yes.
And they were called off. This is in the southeast coast. They call it the East Coast, but somewhere in the southeast by Bahamas. And what happens is they get called over from a training exercise. Listen, we have something flying. They're not armed. These ships, they were out there to do some training runs, whatever. They get called there. They see this thing, in the water. It drops. Then they're looking at it. He says it looked like a Tic Tac in a cup, like if you shook a Tic Tac around, just bouncing around above the water. And he said you could see some the way they spotted at first was by the foam of the wave, the foam on the ocean. He said it takes, after they're looking at it, they said it's keeping, speed with them, turning with them, doing all these things, then it takes off. And then they're supposed to meet at a rally point. And as they're heading to the rally point, the fucking thing shows up at the rally. The guys following it on radar are like, this thing just, I don't remember the distance. Let's just say 100 miles away. It's at your rally point. It's there now. And then they start heading there. I mean, and these aren't new things. These are just now it's becoming more acceptable in the piloting world, and to come forward with this stuff. And this guy Faber, he's retired. He's not doing it for money. He doesn't have a book coming out. He's just like, and he says it up front. He's like, my biggest thing was I want to fly that thing. Like, I don't know how, whatever it does what it does. And it talks about that in the report also, how not his case specifically, but how they're trying to get first they're asking for more funding, because the way this report first came about with the Senate committee, it was discovered that the black budget of $22 million was given to Robert Bigelow. Robert Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace, it's a chain of motels. He owns Bigelow, and he's trying to go to Mars. What's that?
Bigelow
I don't know if he might be the Bigelow T guy. I'm not sure.
Big T money.
He knows Senator Reed, and Senator Reed gave his organization, Bigelow Aerospace, $22 million to investigate certain metals that were found by the government. And this was under a Defense Department black budget. Somehow that got leaked. And that's when it came up. They're like, wait, we're spending money on this. What's, why are we, why are we giving it to Bigelow?
Yeah.
So the government made their own program, UAP Identification Task Force, also with ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. So there's all these things going on that are just starting. Around 2007, I think, was ATIP. 2012, we find out there's an ATIP, and here we are now, where they're specifically on the UAPs. It's no longer the UFO. So the report was never going to say, we have something in Roswell or aliens have come and visit us.
Yeah, because the one thing I read about the report, like I said, it was 9 pages. It's only from 2004 to 2021.
Right. And 2004 is when the leaks started. And 2004 is when one of the leaks started.
And it was only military pilots that were interviewed for this whole thing. So,
right.
And
mostly Navy.
Yeah. And if we're going down that rabbit hole, listen, you're going to give this and this account. How many,
where do you want your career to go?
Yeah, exactly.
The report also talks about trying to get information from the FAA, which we know, pilots would never report these things because they get grounded. They don't, you're not going to lose your license. or your permissions to fly. So a lot of times they would never report things they see when they fly. What do I think they are? Possibly our stuff flying around. I think that's possible. I don't go deep into like, the little green men and the gray Martians and all that. I find it interesting. It's fun to talk about because, all right, let's go deep dive here. Okay. What if let's say Muskrat, let's say tomorrow a UFO lands, what do you expect to come out of this? See a ship, a disc lands?
I'm of the ilk. Look, I'm probably somewhere between Joe Rogan and Elon Musk in terms of what I believe, and it's kind of really changed over the last couple of years as I've gotten more information. To answer your question, if it landed in my backyard, I'd probably expect something a cross between like E.T., the Greys, or I saw something, again, called conspiracy, whatever. There was allegedly a meeting with Eisenhower back in the early 50s with a human type character that looked remarkably similar to us. So I would probably say something in between that, and look, I've read the stuff that you've read. I read the report. I didn't think there was much that came out of it that we didn't already know, other than the fact that, like Obama said, hey, listen, there's stuff up there that we can't explain. And look, I think the way these vehicles are moving, I mean, Cruz is saying it. Senator Ted Cruz is talking about, hey, listen, if this is, a foreign country, doing technology, this is a risk to us. So I kind of discount that because I think if it was a different country, I think we'd have some sort of response to it, or we'd have an inkling of which country's doing it. So I don't think it's that. And the sheer fact, like you said, with the Tic Tac stuff, where the thing is starting up and it's dropping down into the water and then it's shooting back up in ways and motions that are unexplainable and that isn't known to technology that we have, kind of confirms it with me. And listen, I mean, me and Mike did a show earlier. I know you probably listened to it where, this shit's been going on where presidents have had, this type of question, about extraterrestrial life close to 40 years, man. Clinton, Obama, they all asked it. I think Trump kind of went into it, but not as much as Obama and Clinton. And then it goes back into the 50s, with Eisenhower, where there's, I guess he was scheduled for a dentist appointment and he was disappeared for a couple hours, and allegedly he had a meeting with, I guess, these extraterrestrials. You had the thing in Roswell, which, again, I kind of figured it was going to be disclosed in the report. But, listen, I read a report today, I think from CNN, that stated about 75% of Americans right now believe that there's some sort of extraterrestrial life. Most of the people and the majority of the people are usually non-religious. Or if they're religious, they're spiritual, but not like really heavy into religion. And the people that kind of discredit this stuff are like the overly religious. And I guess the people who are like heavy duty atheists. So I think, like you said earlier, Macho, I think that it's just, there's a growing acceptance for this type of thing. And I think, as I made mention to it, Mike, I think the technology is getting to the point where, this is where this is my only criticism. Like Elon Musk said, he goes, you have a camera in your phone. You have all this technology at your beck and call. You got Navy pilots taking footage of this shit. He goes, don't you think, if they were really out there, and I heard this on Rogan too, that they kind of would make themselves known instead of being in hiding at this point?
Right.
Well,
so
to say what, if the same thing in that Tim Dillon episode, he actually said, he goes, I think aliens look at us. We're like the universe's Tijuana. Like people just come to fucking, like they're just coming here to look at the shit show and like get fucked up and leave.
Senor Frogs in Cancun.
Yeah, like it's just, I mean, I tend to go with keep it in the gray area. I think we do. I think there's some technology out there that some countries have, including ours, and that they're just screwing around with it in the middle of the ocean. And these planes are just popping in on it. Like, what the hell is this? No one knows what it is. And I also think we got that technology probably from something off this planet.
Yeah.
Who was that? What was that documentary on Netflix a few years back? The guy that worked at Area 51.
Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar.
That whole Bob Lazar thing. I truly, I'll believe that. I believe that out in the desert, they have a lot of stuff out there that they're tinkering with.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's stuff supposedly in England. There's been a couple of English type Roswell incidents. I saw something, I guess, on the Discovery Channel where they were doing like a live breakdown and all this stuff. They were talking about some sort of incident in the German forest in World War II. I forgot the name of the forest, but allegedly there was some sort of Roswell type incident back then. Look, I just think there are just way too many stories, you know, that you can just discredit it. Even with the supernatural, with ghosts and shit, you know, like my buddy Tony calls me Sixth Sense and stuff, but we'll get into that another time. You know, I think, you know, when you have thousands of stories and thousands of incidents and all this circumstantial evidence, I just think it's too easy to discredit. But, you know, like I said, you know, I do put some credence into what an Elon Musk says in the sense that, you know, if they have been visiting us, what's the big deal in terms of, you know, just making themselves known instead of being like in the goddamn shadows.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I don't know.
See, we've had this conversation before, Chris. Macho, I'll ask you this: do you think if the little green men show up, there's going to be mass hysteria? I think so.
I don't think so.
I think to a certain degree because, well, you got to realize if, first of all, if they're little green men and they look anything like us, and what I mean by that is if you look at our planet and the amount of different life we have here, we're the only real bipedal animals. And everything on our planet is pretty much the same, you know, 2 arms, 2 legs,
Yeah,
vertebrae. The way we're set up here is specific to our planet. From, you know, so if something comes off a ship and looks sort of like us, but not really, but it's standing up and walking, you gotta start asking yourself. You go into the ancient aliens of, you know, were we seated here? Like it wouldn't make sense. It should look totally different if you're coming from somewhere else. It shouldn't look anything like this. Like that's why I always, when I hear the grays, the big heads, it's like, well, if you got a big head, you know, our gravity is specific to our planet. You go to Mars, it's different gravity. You go to one of the biggest issues of going to these planets. Part of it is gravity. How does it affect your insides? So for something to come up with a giant head, you're going to tell me it's bobbing around and not cracking its neck. I mean, there's a lot of different things we can get into. I don't know. I think there would be to a certain degree because the religious zealots go crazy.
exactly.
I mean, there's that one video of at the in Italy of I'm fucking forgetting where it lands right above the center. There's a UFO. There's a video taken from 5 different angles, and then it just takes off. You can look it up on YouTube now. And I keep saying YouTube. I'm not Eddie Bravo crazy with YouTube. But this is something that's from like 5 or 6 different angles. I don't know, man. I think people would lose their shit to a certain degree. I think some people just won't give a shit. They're like, all right, whatever. Like,
yeah.
How does that pay your bills or pay your taxes? But you know, there's going to be the religious, also the hardcore on either side. But I think if it does happen, you can see government stepping up. I think a bunch would be like, yeah, we've spoken to them. You know what I mean? Like there'll be a foot race to say who spoke to them first, or we've been speaking to them, just to get your foot out in front.
Here's the other question. I think Stephen Hawking said this. What if it's like some sort of, like if they are out there and there is an interaction with them, does it end up like Independence Day, where they're not really like friendly close encounters aliens, but they're going to come here and they look at us like kind of like Columbus looked at the Native Americans back in 1492, you know, where they're so advanced that they're just going to take whatever they want and crush us, you know?
Well, now you're getting back into the ancient aliens stuff.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they believe that we were seeded here or hybrids. At some point, we deviated from the Neanderthal and came our way. We're no longer apes. And, you know, one of the points they bring up in ancient aliens is why do we find gold so valuable? Well, gold's a great conductor of electricity.
Yeah.
Gold's a great thing to deflect, you know, radiation. Why do we find gold so valuable? We still use gold as the value of our dollars based on gold. Why? Why isn't that silver or something else? Coal, whatever else. You know,
I've watched that too, Macho. It's an interesting show. I look at that guy with the whacked out hair though. Sometimes I try to.
Well, he thinks everything's aliens. He doesn't give credit to human civilization for anything. Everything's like we did this aliens.
Well, let me ask you, with the ancient aliens, they built the pyramids then?
No, they're saying we built them, but using their technology.
Oh, okay.
We were giving guy, like, imagine, if I don't know how to finish my basement, I call and you're a contractor, you're my buddy. You're not going to do the job for me, but you help me out. You show me. Hey, you know what? You got to help. It's 6 feet off the center. You know what I mean? You got to hang your drywall this way. Watch out for the lines that way. Pull this. No, don't do it that way. Do it this way. It's basically what they're trying to say. But there's a lot of proof. When you look back at the ancient aliens, just the fact that there's pyramids spread out amongst the world in different locations. So like New Zealand, they're finding pyramids buried. Ancient Egypt, South America. Why are there pyramids? What's the fascination with pyramids? How did that come about? How would people that would have no contact with each other be able to think that let's line up our pyramids with the same stars that they're doing in Egypt, or the same way they're doing in England, or the same way they're doing in New Zealand? Like, it's things like that make you think. Oh,
they're lined up? See, I didn't know that.
A lot of these things are lined up with like with Orion, with Orion's belt. But then again, you have nothing else to look at. What are you gonna do? But the fact that they're building pyramids is the
but point then I mean, to play devil's advocate with the pyramids, that could have been their thing. They want to get they worship the sun god. They just want to get closer to the sun.
But so many different people.
What about crop circles,
worship the sun god?
I mean,
what about crop circles?
Yeah.
Same deal.
Oh, those are bullshit. I don't believe crop circles.
I think I think those are just drunk English guys.
Those are just dudes just having a good time.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it.
But that's all over the place, man. That's not just in England.
But that's more of a current day thing.
Yeah.
You didn't see that back in the day. That came around in the late 70s, early 80s, and then somebody ran with it. I don't believe the crop circles. So this is what happens, Muskrat, when you're retired and you have too much free time. You watch every crappy show on Amazon about aliens and fucking Bigfoot and ghost shows. I've seen every ghost show.
Bigfoot is not real. We went through this already. Bigfoot's not real.
I don't know.
Bigfoot's
I agree with you just for this, because you've never found any bodies. You never find any bones.
You would at least find bones from coyotes eating a dead one or something.
Yeah, you'd find something. There's never, but it's interesting to think about.
What about the skeleton, Chris? What about the skeletons? The big skeletons that they found,
the giant ones. And it's hard to find information on. You find like an article or two, but you never really see too much about it. They talk about it, like even the ancient alien shows. They graze over that real quick. I don't know.
It's pretty interesting shit, Mike. So they allegedly there's these skeletal remains of these humanoid type skeletons that, they're just huge. They're like 7 foot plus, and they're similar to humans, but they're not really similar to humans, if that makes sense. But I always go back to what you just said with the ancient aliens. I guess the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, the final episode, spoiler alert, they show the Galactica, I guess, landing on, prehistoric Earth, and they show wandering tribes of I guess Neanderthals or whatever the humans were at that point, and I guess assimilating into the society back then, and I guess, like you said, jump starting the technology to get us on the path with where we are today. So I think that's the general message that I get when I watch Ancient Aliens and stuff. A lot of that kind of harkens back to like that kind of idea and stuff, which I don't know if I truly buy into, but like I said, man, I think with technology and the pictures and, listen, you've had some questions, like I mentioned in the original episode that we talked about this, where you got people like Senator Reid, you got the Clintons, you got Obama, you got a ton of high ranking people that have all asked the question. So by them asking the question, it leads me to believe, even if there's not evidence, these guys aren't asking the question just for the sake of asking it. You know what I'm saying? And, the fact of you got a senator, after the fact addressing it, in Cruz, you got guys like Senator Reid, have like that whole organization, like you mentioned, they're pushing the envelope. I just don't know how much more they're going to pussyfoot around in terms of releasing the information. Because I personally, I was kind of like a little disappointed with the amount of information that actually came from this report. Yeah. I didn't expect them to say, hey, look, we've got some bodies from Roswell and da. But I thought it'd be just a little bit more substantial, other than, them explaining, which I guess it is to an extent, but I just expect a little bit more meat on the bones.
Yeah, that was, and to me, one of the funniest things about it is it's the year 2021. It comes out, there's aliens. Nobody gives a shit after the year we just had. Everyone's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think now's the
Okay.
perfect time, man. I really do. I mean, like you said, I think there's going to be an element of the religious zealots out there that, and even the atheists. You know, I think those it would freak those people out a little bit too. I think the normal type person, you know, like we were talking about last week, you know, with the hobgoblin guy in New York City. I think there's an element, you know, that I don't think it's going to phase people. I really don't.
Well, I think the scientific community would probably be the biggest ones to lose their shit because the repercussions of somebody visiting us from another planet out of our solar system would change what physics mean to us today.
Yeah.
Just the amount of energy and the time and travel space from the nearest star to us that could possibly be habitable. And to say they've been doing it since, you know, say if it's true, since the 40s. I mean, and leaving and coming back and leaving. I mean,
Yeah.
it would change how we understand physics.
I think too, what it would be crazy. It's going to be whoever has that first contact is going to get all this technology. And now, you know, you could have a shift of
power
of just, say Canada gets everything. What the fuck, you know?
Blame Canada.
Well, you know what? Funny enough, one of the biggest proponents of all this stuff is God, I can't remember his name. He was a leader of Canada. He's one of the heads of Canada, and he was the head of the UFO department in Canada. And he's out now. Like he's one of. If you ever watch any of these shows, they always. What's his name?
Yeah, something.
No, it's not Pierre. It's
Jack Trudeau.
Dude, he's on he's been on Rogan. He's been on a bunch of shows, and he's like he gets credibility too because he was in the Canadian government and his job was to investigate UFOs. And he talks about it all the time.
Well, listen, this was an amazing conversation. I learned nothing.
How you liking the retired life,
There was nothing
Macho?
to learn. There was nothing to learn in this report. I'm
It
sorry.
was, yes.
There was really nothing there. It was
read
very
like
bare bones.
It read like stereo instructions.
Yes, and you know, and it says we need more money. That's about all I got. We need more funding if you want us to find out what's going on.
How's retired life treating you, Macho?
Retired life is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I didn't find it's good. Don't get me wrong, but like you know, I was a midnight guy my whole career.
Yeah.
And even before that, I worked nights when I worked at the bars, DJing and whatever. So going to like waking up at 7:30 in the morning to take your kids to school, and then doing 4 loads of like I'm Mr. Mom at home, you know. And then once they get out of school, I'm the Uber driver because I'm driving one to practice, one to rehearsals, another one pick them up, bring them here, figure out but it's good. I can't complain. I really can't.
Would you consider going back to like St. John's as a security guy and getting the second salary?
No, absolutely not. I want to deal with less people as possible. I don't want to see anybody.
Oh, Macho.
If I can move. I just. I don't want to deal with people.
I'll talk in code right now. Last year, jukebox sighting, doing well.
Really? Where's that guy been?
He lives right now. He lives close to me. He's still in Queens. I ran into him, talked to him for about a half hour. Looked good. Still.
I figured he would have like taken off with YouTube or something, like been some crazy.
I'll tell
TikTok shirtless guy.
I've said this, and somebody else said this too. He was 10 years ahead of his time.
Yes.
He would have been viral. Viral with the jukebox.
Overnight. Overnight.
You gotta tell me a little bit more in detail at some point, Mike.
Yeah. We only got like 4 or 5 minutes left, so let's plug it up, wrap it up, and that'll be that. Macho, what do you want to? You want to plug your Twitch? Plug away, baby.
Twitch TV/EZZ. That's where you can find me. I stream video games daily, mostly MLB The Show.
Nice, Macho. You know, I do the same thing with FIFA, bro. I'm a Division 2, Division 3 player in FIFA. I got these kids.
NHL,
I got these kids in Mexico cursing me out in Spanish.
You gotta learn your Spanish curse. You gotta get them in there.
They're chanting 9/11 at me because I'm beating them. Fucking assholes.
Awesome.
I'll check it out though. Definitely, man.
Chris, what do you got?
All right, DJ Chris Clash, www.chrisclash.com. You can give me a ring personally at 917-612-8271. It's a direct line for me. I'm officially booked up through the summer, guys, but come the fall, weddings, any sort of parties, name it, hit me up now. The bookings are going fast. Macho will remember me from back in the heyday at St. John's, and he can attest to my DJing skills. We also have Jay Cristiano from Cardinal Financial. Give the code 4215, telephone number 844-442-7334. Unless you check out Tommy D's place, Mad Donkey, 3207 36th Avenue, Astoria, New York. Also 5-star shopping by Tommy D. You can check out his website as well. That's all I got today.
Oh, speaking of small worlds, a guy called me up. I worked with narcotics. Said, "Oh yeah, I know that guy, Tommy D." So
I can pass it along to him. Hopefully he's watching.
Yeah, he goes, "Yeah, guy Richie I worked with." He goes, "I know Tommy D," and he's another Queens guy, so makes sense.
We all travel in the same circles, folks.
As always, Jack that was on earlier at I Can Paint, Provmatic on Twitch. Check him out. Christine Meehan-Berg every Wednesday night. Dylan's on Metropolitan Avenue in Queens. She does a free comedy show. Go check it out. And Pat Dixon over at Compound Media. I did the show this week, and you can check out his podcast, New York City Crime Report, as well. And hopefully some big things with me and him coming out in the future. That's about it. Macho, always a pleasure, baby.
Thank you, guys. Nice talking to you guys again.
Macho, where in the island are you, bro?
Hold on.
Suffolk.
Yeah,
I am too, man.
Let's end this first, and then you guys can give out your
I'm in Suffolk. I want to go further east.
We'll talk off air. No problem.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your 4th of July. We'll see you later.
Happy
Bye
4th.
bye.